Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. Happy New Year! It's 2026, and I just thought I would look up, what is 2026 in the world of classical music? What anniversaries do we have to look forward to from the great composers who lavished us with the bounty of their genius? Well, there aren't very many. It's actually pretty droopy. I was shocked. So I just thought we would take a look together and see what's there. I did a little Google thing. So I wrote, composers born in, I started with the centennial, 1926. I mean, I didn't expect much. I didn't get much. And then let's see what Google AI tells us. We'll limit ourselves to Google AI because who wants to look further, actually? Well, several significant composers were born in 1926, it tells us. Morton Feldman and György Kurtág. Miles Davis and Carlisle Floyd are also in there. Yay! I can't really see a Carlisle Floyd festival happening this year, although, new recordings of Susanna and some of his operas are always welcome. But Morton Feldman and György Kurtág, boy, oh boy, the Laurel and Hardy of the avant-garde. I mean, one of them was rotund, and one of them was meager and slim. I'm really going to be interesting. Would it be marvelous to have a Feldman and Kurtág festival? I mean, Kurtág's still alive, right? Isn't he still with us? He's got to be 100, I guess, right? He's got to be. I mean, because it's 100 years. Just imagine, you could fit everything Kurtág wrote in, For Philip Guston by Feldman. One work by Feldman is as long as most of Kurtág's life's output. So we could put them together and have a very jolly festival. You could go to the concerts that take 10 minutes or the concerts that take 10 hours. You have your choice. But I can't see actually huge celebrations of either along the lines of Bruckner and Ravel, for example, just to note two that we've had in the past couple of years. So let's do 150 years. Let's go back to 1876 and see what turns up. There we go. Here we go. Oh! Finally, we get what? Well, there are actually quite a few. In this case, we have Manuel de Falla. Of course, the problem with Falla is that he only wrote 12 pieces of music, and they've all been recorded 1 billion times. That doesn't stop anyone. I mean, we do have a Falla edition thing that was out on Warner. Maybe there will be some new Falla recordings for 1876, for the 150th anniversary of his birth. I didn't go to deaths. I could do death too, but I'm doing birth. I'm keeping it optimistic because it's New Year's. Havergal Brian. Well, it's time for Naxos to box up their Havergal Brian Symphony Edition, I think, and sell maybe one or two of them. I can't imagine those who want them, haven't already have them, but you never know. I mean, you could put it in a box. And the other one is Carl Ruggles. Carl Ruggles, who also wrote 3 pieces of music. And it's all nasty and atonal, and some of it's just brilliant. Sun Treader and Men in Mountains and some other things. But can you imagine? I mean, isn't it fascinating how both Falla and Ruggles were extremely limited in their output? So we could have a very easy Falla Ruggles festival, too, where everything would fit on 2 discs. You'd be in really good shape. Havergal Brian, of course, is a totally different issue. Bruno Walter has 150 years, and he was sort of a composer. They could do a little bit of his stuff. Some of that's on CPO. And Mieczyslaw Karlovich, he's a good composer. I mean, he died young, and he wrote 3 or 4 discs worth of stuff. It's all been recorded, but I could see him getting revived a little bit. That wouldn't be so bad. So let's go back now to 1826 and see what the potential is. Oh wow, Stephen Foster. Okay, and Ludwig Minkus. Ugh. He wrote Le Bayadère. Remember that? I have a Bayadere story. I think I've told it before in my ballet experience. I saw Gelsey Kirkland and Patrick Bissell, was that his name? Dance with Bayadere here in New York, and I mean I knew she was on something. She later wrote that book, Dancing on My Grave, about how they were all using crack while they were on ballet. That's why their feet never touched the ground. Let me tell you, her feet never touched the ground. She came whizzing out on her tippy toes, and I said to the person I was with, oh, she's on something. That can't be real. And what a terrible ballet that is, actually. And I was on a blind date. I was on a blind date that was fixed up by my late fabulous cousin Thelma, who actually passed away on Rosh Hashanah this year. It was very sad. She was 101, 102. And she had a friend, and the friend had a girl, and I wasn't really into that sort of thing, but my family didn't really know, and this girl was absolutely miserable. She certainly wasn't into whatever we were into, but she liked the ballet, supposedly. Ugh, what an awful date that was. It's a nightmare. Maybe that's why I don't like Minkus and the Bayadere. So we have Stephen Foster, and we have Minkus. And there are a couple others who really don't matter. Ernst Power, a Viennese pianist and professor at the Royal College of Music in London, who composed extensively. Yeah, right. I don't think we need to discover him. And other notables. Well, the other notables we can forget. All right. So that covers 1826, the 200th anniversary, the bicentennial of Stephen Foster and Ludwig Minkus. Ooh, that's rough. All right, so let's go back to good old 1776. Of course, that's 250 years celebrating the good old U.S. of A. But that doesn't have much to do with music, does it? Several composers: E.T.A. Hoffmann, John Parry, Ignaz von Seyfried, Philip Jakob Riotta, alongside others like Joseph Küffner and Vincenzo Lavinia and George Thomas Smart. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. What terrible! No useful 250th anniversaries. So we go back now to 1726, which is as far back as I'm going to go because after that, well, who cares? Oh, Philidor, the great French Baroque chess master. Okay, so no one's going to do a Philidor Fest. You could, though. It sounds good, doesn't it? Charles Burney. Well, Charles Burney was really cool. He was a composer, but he was really a music historian, one of the first. And he traveled Europe. He wrote music in Europe and all these things. I have all these books. They're marvelous to read. He was hanging out with Handel and with Haydn and all those people. I mean, he was really on top of music in that age, and his books are primary source material. We couldn't really have a Burney festival, but it's a nice sort of tercentennial to pay attention to. Bohemian keyboardist and composer Joseph Anton Stephan. Well, nobody cares about him. Giuseppe Paolucci, an Austrian lutenist, Karl Kohaut, whatever you call him. He's somewhat known among lutenist people, but again, it's pretty slim pickings. So 2026 has no, let's face it, let me just get to the bottom line here. No major anniversaries coming up. Zippo, none, unless, we want to have a revival of something or other, or everybody decides that Morton Feldman was the greatest thing, since sliced bread, which I don't see happening. I think it's going to be a good year because we don't have to deal with any of that crap. We can actually just pay attention to individual composers and recognize, normal standards of great work amongst the enormous ocean of music from which we have to choose. I am very curious to see what actually comes out. And it will be fun to see if somebody does try and make something out of like Manuel de Falla or Havergal Bryan or one of those people. It should be interesting to see. And I'll welcome that, of course. It's nice to do. But there isn't anything that's going to get us all hepped up. But of course, we're all preparing for, 2027. because 2027, isn't 2027 like a Beethoven year or something like that? I don't know. Something's coming up. I mean, something's definitely coming up. So, we'll see. We'll see what transpires. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you in the not too distant, immediate. Well, I mean, I'll be seeing you every day, but let's see what the new year brings. Take care.